Yeah, I have to say, Byung has been doing a good job of dropping her, harassing constantly. But Ling's defense has been pretty solid too.
I question how valid using the Widow Mines there to push is really going to be. Let's think about this for a second, okay? Widow Mines are great against getting rid of Banelings and groups of Lings that initially engage in the fight. This is really more down to the Roach Ravager. You can elect when you want to engage with the Lings, and if you have an Overseer with your army, wouldn't you just Corrosive Bile on the Widow Mine?
Yeah.
And make it completely useless?
But the same sort of argument can be, hold that thought, Taste, we might have a big fight here. But I was going to say, if you use Siege Tanks in your comp, the Siege Tank can't move without Medivac, so you have to be really, super, super godlike at micro to keep your Siege Tanks alive versus Corrosive Bile as well. So it's tough. The Liberator seems to be the right tool, though. The Liberator can help zone these out. We're going to see this base just targeted down, right-click, see you later, Planetary. Not much of a fortress anymore.
No, not at all. Taken out pretty easily. Nice once again. The Corrosive Bile taking down a Liberator. He might re-engage here and take out this next Liberator.
Yeah, something I learned today that's basically just I guess a fundamental tenet of this matchup is every AoE unit the Terran can bring to the table has to be stationary in order to do its damage, and that's where the Corrosive Biles, just good placement, can totally wreck
absolutely.
them.
And with Ultras being so much better in this iteration of the game, it looks like he may be able to just tear right through here. If he can keep his army together, I guess that is. Some of those were back there focused on the Medivacs, while others up there in the front.
Yeah, good upgrades for these Ultralists as well, plus the fact that they also have that extra armor like you were talking about.
Yeah, it makes it a lot more difficult. Terran has to avoid making contact with the Ultralisk. And that, of course, allows things like Corrosive Bile and other ranged attacks to continue to chip away at the Terran's overall HP on the army.
Well,
so it's 160. I'm sorry, I don't mean to run over you.
Sure,
Sorry,
sure.
I'm just going to say it's 170 supply. It was 166 a second ago. Zerg has the top side of the map. I think Ling is getting, he gets 5 stars this game. He's done everything basically correct, especially for how Zerg's supposed to be played. And I believe a follow-up bludgeoning attack should end the game. I don't think Terran's going to have enough to really secure another base. And as you can see, just by looking at the mini-map, there's almost no resources remaining for Byung. So
these Ultras had +1 attack. I want to point that out, for this type versus 3-3 bio. And the production tab really tells the story. We have 8 Ultras on the way versus 2 Medivacs and 2 Marauders for a while there. This is quite an insane difference in income and actual money on the map. Byung does have a small group of bio units that are poking at this.
Oh, Ling right in.
This is a big problem. These Lings have adrenal glands too.
Oh my God, last second.
But still, this is going to force the Terran army to come back, and he can actually cut off those reinforcements.
Oh my God, I get so salty. I have to deal with the adrenal glands now. He's coming down now.
Okay, well, those fungals need to come off here. This is still a lot of heavily upgraded Terran bio, but with the fungals here, the Ultras just have too much armor.
I got to say, Byung is actually going to get, I think, some of the best micro off we could possibly see here. He's doing a really good job of making this work with a small number. However, I don't know if that's going to matter. I think if Ling is simply back at home producing anything that can attack in this game, he's going to get this base. But Byung doing his very best to try to hold this off.
He's just got no money left. He's got 17 workers left. He's got 1 mining base that's almost mined out. This base is lifted. 17 SCVs in total going down here. And this army will be cleaned up. And Byung is holding on. He's showing the efficiency of Terran.
Not sure why he has that rallied in there, but I guess he can kind of do whatever he wants. There we go. I guess he can do really whatever he wants. It's, I mean, just look at the rate of minerals going up here at the upper right. Look at how quickly Zerg's is. It's rapidly moving up, and he's spending a good amount of this.
And the gas
slowly.
as well.
Yeah, the gas as well, absolutely.
Because gas is required to make Liberators, which is how he's been trying to deal with these Ultras, which he doesn't have enough gas to make anymore.
Or Medivacs or Widow Mines as well. I mean, he needs all of these things. And it looks like Ling's already setting this up quite nicely. Terran trying to drop, but the problem is even if he had his whole army back here, he might not be able to hold off these attacks.
Yeah, this is just a nasty, nasty situation. Corruptor's coming out now to help deal with the Medivacs.
I might have been wrong. I'm assuming that he's going to have more Lings with this army, and then I'm not seeing it anywhere when he actually comes in.
I think he just lost a huge chunk of them to a Widow Mine just seconds before.
Because you need to have Lings to make the Ultralists truly show their value. You can micro in between, but again, it's...
Like you said, he can pretty much do anything he wants at this point.
7 SCVs, 37 supply total for Terran.
GG,
that does it. DRG Ling wins game number 1 against an 11-time GSL Codex veteran, Byung.
Now, I mean, his play was overall like pretty good. You know, he didn't make any glaring mistakes. You know, it did not look like a first-timer in the booth game right there.
I have to say, I'm a bit confused that Byung, I'm not sure if he knows which expansion he's playing on right now. I mean, it seemed like he did the build exactly as if Zerg was required to be dependent on Banelings that game, and Zerg, in fact, is not.
Might not make a single Baneling, not even make a Baneling nest.
Yeah, there's nothing that requires Zerg to feel threatened necessarily by Widow Mines. I'm not sure where the Widow Mines place is going to be in this game. I know we're all still figuring out this matchup to a certain extent and this expansion, but yeah, he went for the Widow Mines, and that was easily gunned down by the Ravagers. And
yeah,
this is fairly straightforward.
Yeah, exactly. It was straightforward, and I'm just really impressed. The thing that impressed me the most is to see a player who's never been in the booth before sit down and play such a stressful tournament and just kill it. You know, he like didn't split his army perfectly when he was defending Byung's harass, and like he misrallied his Ultralisk one time, but otherwise like he doesn't look nervous. He looks like the kind of guy who's been in the booth like many times before, but that was his very first professional StarCraft game on TV ever. That was game one. That was the first time.
It's pretty crazy. And I got to say, that's going to be a huge confidence booster, a huge morale pickup. Byung, I think he's not only going to have to play a little bit better, but I think play a different style. I don't know if doing that Widowmine tech and ignoring the other tools given to you in the Legacy of the Void expansion is the way to play. Anyways, this is game number 2. Byung against Ling. In the upper left, in the blue, on our biggest map here in the GSL.
CJ 엔트스 뿅.
And in the bottom right, in the red. I messed up. I did it too soon. In the bottom right in the red.
스바누 동래군님.
So now that I've been doing SSL, Wolf, it's a simple thing, but on the monitor on SSL,
oh yeah,
the feed that is what you guys would see is on the opposite side.
That's right.
We have several monitors on our desk, and I've been reading the wrong one as I rotate between the two tournaments. Okay, so Wolf, I want you to look deep into my hazel eyes as I have an announcement to tell you and the world.
Tell me about it, Tasteless.
Nerds, I hope you're sitting down at home, okay? You might fall over and break something. There's going to be Brood War and English casting.
Ooh.
That's right, Wolf. It's going to be starting Monday.
I just want to point this out really briefly. This is like I came all the way from Busan to see this guy.
That's great, Wolf. Don't take my moment or this moment away, Wolf.
Go on.
This is going to be, we're going to have English coverage. There's a Brood War tournament that's already been going on here in Korea. And we'll be doing one part of the semifinals and then the finals. And I'll be tweeting more information about that. But guys, let people know if they tune in and we get enough views, this can be a regular thing.
Yeah, and it's actually, I mean, you were like one of the top, Brood War players along with your brother and Artosis
D9 and Artosis.
Yeah, in North America. This is like top American pro of Brood War who also commentated Brood War in English in Korea many years ago.
This is going to be very exciting, guys. I know a lot of people don't know very much about Brood War. A lot of you guys are younger than me. Might have missed out on that game, but it's a great game just like StarCraft 2. A little bit different. They're obviously both great games.
The concepts are similar as well.
Yeah, if you played one, you can follow the other one, and it'll be fun. That was really nicely done, and that's not the first time we've seen Ling do that, by the way.
Yeah.
But anyways, guys, just tell people to tune in. I'll be tweeting the exact time. Get as many people to tune in as possible, because everybody in Korea keeps thinking that non-Koreans won't watch Brood War, but I think there just hasn't been an opportunity in recent years to actually show people the game and how great it is. That is all. Now back to this game.
All right, so just talking a little bit more about Ling. I did some research on this guy before I came here because I wanted to make sure, like, there was not. I was like, what can I find out about this guy? Like, how did he really just come out of nowhere? It seems to be he's one of those guys who just plays competitive games a ton. Oh, we're going to see this Reaper actually sneak in here. There's nothing much to see right now. But the guy is basically like, reminds me of somebody like Last Shadow, who's like an ex-pro and has dabbled in many games. Who's just like really good at games, right? Like Valdez is actually quite skilled at like many different types of games.
Yeah, Valdez is actually kind of freaky. He's like really good at like a large variety of games.
But he's dabbled in other games. He played like a ton of Diablo 3, and he.
Valdez did Diablo 3?
Oh no, I'm talking about Ling right now.
Oh, okay. I was like, no, he didn't.
No.
I'm like, we don't need to lie about him here, man. He's why don't you just name one of like the 10 games he's good at, man? Like, geez, Wolf.
But he's also just basically for Spenu, like he was considered to be kind of like one of their B teamers, just like a trial player.
Okay.
And now he's ended up making it all the way to the GSL Code. But I guess we've talked a little bit about him. Now let's talk about this game at hand. We're seeing finally a Siege tank coming out. Looks like just for safety, but also a very quick Liberator this time. He's going to a second one. So Byung is building a more Legacy-style game than a Heart of the Swarm-style game here.
Well, we've seen the Liberator used. I don't know if this is the best map to try this on, but let's just see what happens. The Liberator can be used to get behind certain expansions and poke into the worker area. And it's pretty annoying for the Zerg. They have to end up running around with spores. As I'm saying that, by the way, there's Lings coming up and Roaches being made. So,
yeah.
I'm wondering, how many Lings is it total?
I think he's got he's got 31
actually,
supplies, so he's probably got about 20 Lings or so.
There's no bunker there, right?
No, I don't think so. But he does have a Siege tank that's like protected and kind of walled off.
Okay.
Spores are up in time for this Liberator because he did see that Liberator with the Lings as well as the Overlord now.
Oh,
and,
whoa.
Hellions getting some kills over here.
Okay, 7 kills on the drones.
Yeah, that's a bit stressful, especially because now he's, again, behind in workers, just like last game versus Byung here. And he's supply blocked as well with that Overlord dying, so he's he's basically really unable to do much at this moment in time. But that's what I was talking about, the Siege tank. It's there with like just a supply depot wall around it. No answer for this Liberator here. The Spore Crawler was out of position. And he's just going to move out of the range again.
This is kind of a funny-looking game inside the game that you'll see in Terran Resurgam when they do this, where they run over the Liberator. It will almost always get at least one drone. And then, are you okay?
Yeah, I just dropped water. Luckily, it didn't really fall on me too bad.
All right. It's okay. This casting's intense. The Liberator will always be able to get over here and actually hit... uh-oh.
Ooh,
I was going to say they can always get a drone. The problem is that the Liberator is not a nimble unit as we're seeing here now. Okay, man, Byung is really not playing well.
Yeah, this is a bit questionable. Like
that was 2 Liberators. Those are not cheap.
He also put that second one in like a questionable place. It wasn't even able to hit much.
Yeah,
that
was like square in the middle. I'm wondering how much Legacy Byung is trained for, because especially the second Liberator that was picked off there, I'm not entirely sure what the story is with that.
Sure, I mean, that would have been like...
To activate the Liberator like that in that position is it's
just not correct.
You're at such risk for being punished.
Yeah.
Now maybe with the Marine Siege tank comboed with Medevac push, the hyper mobile Terran push, maybe we'll have a different story here. I'm not sure, but I will say, at least with those Liberators, I'm a little bit worried here for Byung and how the rest of this game is going to pan out.
I think Byung has a huge advantage in this game still, despite
my
that.
God!
Oh, this is going to be a big problem. A huge Ling run by here at the natural. A few Widow Mines will perhaps save him here. Just barely not, actually. This is going to be a lot of damage.
Well, he actually activated all the mines, so now he can go ahead and take out all these SCVs, or at least as many as he possibly can.
Yeah, as freely as he wants. 7 kills here. But let's see if Ling can hold the follow-up push here, because he doesn't have any Bailings. Corrosive Bile hits are going to have to be really good. And there's a Siege tank with this as well. He doesn't have that many units on the ground.
Keep in mind, even though a Siege tank can be killed by Corrosive Bile, if the Medevac picks it up, not as helpful. Picking up and relocating now over here.
Yeah. Now, right now, the 1-1 upgrades are going to finish for Byung, which means this push is a lot stronger than it was just seconds before. But it looks like he's going to be able to force it onto the high ground here. Corrosive Bile one of that Siege tank.
I don't think this is going to work. I think it's actually too... I mean, first of all, he left the tank alone. That's a big no-no. He's dropping elsewhere, but it seems like this should all be eventually picked off. But, well, let's see. He's still getting some drones. I guess it's really more about mobility at this point in time than sheer numbers, as the drops are continuing to rotate around inside the Zerg's base.
Yeah, Ling has lost a lot of mining time, and he's lost a small chunk of workers, but I mean, actually more than a small chunk at this point, 15 with this group of attacks. I think this is just wearing him down to death. I think this is just going to kill him. He has
Well,
an infestation pit now, but what's he gonna do with it? He's got 50 gas, you know.
Yeah,
It's
and
not
he also
good.
lost his base. Well, this is a side of Byung that was what made him so successful at other GSLs, is the fact that he could harass, and this is something that's universal of StarCraft and not necessarily, you know, confined to simply Legacy of the Void, and I think that's why we're seeing some success with these pushes here so far. He will eventually have to pick up, boost, and then get back out, maybe find another place to attack. But Zerg is dropping in numbers. The army for Zerg is still scary. The economy for Zerg, not so much.
Yeah, this is a really awkward spot here. He's now down 40 supply. His army is flimsy. It's you know, he's got an infestation, but he's got no infestors. These drones are running away to a base that's just simply going to be killed. All the
By
drones
the way,
will die
this is
too.
good usage of Widow Mines here. I like this.
Good zoning. Looks like these medevacs may be taken out, and a few more of these units get taken out by Corrosive Bile, but the momentum is just too much here for Byung. 42 drones dying. This is nerves. This is like, you know, this is more of what I expected to see out of a newer player. Just always making a few mistakes when it comes to multitasking, when you're playing in front of so many people, and he's just getting pulled apart by Byung's good multitasking.
Scan there. That expansion barely up in time. Almost no drones mining here. It's actually 31. Oh, I didn't even notice that. Yeah, there's a Widow Mine still in that base.
Yeah, there's just almost no drones on the map.
I think it's very straightforward here for Byung. I think he just makes more, takes his time. His economy is going to be kicking into high gear. And eventually he does a push there on that third base, the one at the bottom.
He's going to have 2-2 upgrades as well. That huge advantage. He's adding a few Marauders into the mix now as well. And look at this, just snipes the hatchery, backs off. And that means even, if you can even imagine, a worse situation here for Ling. Now, the one thing Ling has is a big army, so like Byung cannot actually take these fights. He needs to regroup.
As I'm watching him stutter step micro forward, I'm kind of scratching my head. I think he just needs to stay back.
Yeah, just regroup a little bit, get the army together.
Yeah, probably get some more Marauders in this mix. This is not really a moment that Zerg can rely too heavily on Lings. There were enough Queens picked off, too. I mean, everything's... I don't know. I mean, I would just... As you can see, it's mostly Ravager, Roach.
Now, 2-2 is finished. The army is regrouped, and I think this is actually going to be like the hammer swinging to finish off Ling in this case. A lot of Widow Mines with this army. No Ling support. Not even that many Ravagers left. He's just going to stutter step forward, as you mentioned before. But this time his army is quite large enough to finish this game. He's up almost 100 supply, and that is going to be it here.
Yeah, this is it. He loses that core set of units. GG, tied up 1-1. As Byung is showing us why he has been in the GSL so many times before.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a weird game. Like last game, game one was very straightforward, I feel, in how it played out. But that second game, Byung made some mistakes with his Liberators, and then he just did kind of a follow-up push because there wasn't a lot of defensive units. Ling was also supply blocked for a very long time in that game, not due to Byung's harassment, but due to his own mechanical mistakes, which caused him to have less units when the attack hit. And I think he was really relying on the fact that was cross spawns on that map, and that he thought he would have enough time to get enough units out to hold there. But that first attack that hit him, he had drops in, I mean, Byung had drops in like 4 different locations, and he was eventually killing 45 drones, which meant that Ling couldn't do anything for the follow-up. And I think that game, my personal opinion on this, my personal take, is a little bit of nerves actually showing there for Ling in that second game. I think he could have defended better, and he made some mechanical mistakes almost in that game.
Yeah, you might be right, Wolf. I think we'll just have to see. Byung, though, still a little bit of odd plays here from Byung in the early game in some of his tech choices. That Liberator play where he just activated the Liberator over land.
Yeah, like over Queens and like a Spore was near.
Yeah, now I'm not totally sure if the Liberator Zerg expansion harass is going to stay a thing. My hunch is maybe not as the year moves on. Not because I just feel like there's better things that Terran might be able to do, teching-wise.
Yeah, I have to agree.
And I think that eventually Zergs should be good enough at it that they could deal with it. But let's see. Let's see. I don't want to jump the shark on it. I don't want to jump the gun.
Welcome to
Anyways,
GSL.
It's tied up right now. It's a best of 5. Only one player is going to move on. Will it be Byung or will it be Ling? Let's find out here at the GSL. In the bottom left, in the blue.
CJ 엔트스 뿅.
And in the upper right, in the red.
스바야누 동래군림.
Also, well, if I may, I would like to go back and point out, I think on that map, the last map we saw, I don't think that doing the Liberator strat on that map specifically is a wise decision.
I agree.
I think the travel distance with the Liberators is way too long.
There's also not a lot of free airspace back there for them to really run around in.
I'd say on this map, it might not be as good either, but on this map, excuse me. Sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. On this map, it might be a little bit better, but maybe still not as much of a good idea. But as I'm saying that, we're already seeing a totally different strategy.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-Rax Reaper opening here for Byung. Now, this sort of build can get really fun to watch, unless you're a Zerg player, sometimes depending on how good the Zerg's defense is. But basically what happens here is the first Reaper shows up, starts scouting, and the Zerg's not entirely sure at that moment what's going to happen next. But then when the Zerg starts to see the second, third, and the fourth Reaper coming up, it's very difficult to defend. The grenades that Reapers have in Legacy of the Void are really powerful, and you can use them to escape from Lings. You can use the high ground, low ground terrain to escape those melee units. There's a very aggressive opening for Terrans that is not an all-in. It's not like 5-Rax Reaper at IEM with Idra versus Maru, but it's like, you know, it's a heavy, heavy pressure build. And it can kill a Zerg if they make too many mistakes. And I think Byung saw maybe some weakness, maybe some nerves in Ling last game, and he's just going to test his skills at defending such a pressure.
Or, in fairness, it might be that, in Game 3, that's actually, in a best of 5, a great time to bring in a new strategy. At this point in time, if Ling is adjusting too well, you throw in a strat like this, and it may really get him off rhythm. Already some great control with the Reaper. What's most important is that he does not overextend with the first 2 or 3 Reapers, because these groups get exponentially stronger as more Reapers come in together.
Now, I was actually commentating this with you just, like 2 weeks ago. Or actually about a week ago.
About a week ago,
yeah. About a week ago was Ragnarok versus Innovation. And Innovation did an opening similar to this, but didn't scout the natural, didn't check the back, just kind of poked at the Lings. And then Ragnarok killed him with an all-in. So I noticed that...
Mass Roach?
Yeah, I noticed that Byung actually checked very carefully here this time to see what's going on back there. Using one grenade at a
he's going to get the Queen.
Nearly.
Got to be careful. Can't overextend. Backing out. That Reaper so low.
That micro is on a razor's edge for both players.
Yeah, that was very dicey. Now, Ling's speed is done, so the efficacy of this army drops significantly.
Now, you can use these grenades, as I mentioned before, defensively.
Oh, don't do that.
Ooh, that was risky.
Don't do that again.
Actually, I think it's
time's
almost
not the
working
charmer.
over. It's like almost like overwhelming the Lings.
Yeah, okay, I see what he's trying to do. He's going to target down from the low ground with one onto the high ground.
Exactly.
To get a bomb to try to give him room over there. You got to be really careful when you do that, though,
That's an insanely risky move.
Because the way the Reapers land there, the Lings can occasionally get just really good surface area around the Reapers.
Well, there are 6 Reapers on the map right now. Actually, more than that now.
Yep.
And he's just doing so much with them.
He needs to target that one Queen down there at the top.
Oh, he's
okay,
going to get this one for
back.
sure. Yeah.
Nice.
Gets that one. It's been, overall, though, a solid defense from Ling. He's got he lost some Lings, no pun intended, and also a few Queens here. But he's still got a healthy drone count. Let's see what happens next, though, because this is the scary moment.
Yeah, the problem is I think he's breached the defense, right? When I was talking about... Oh, that's so cute. Okay, he's going to go right on the eggs.
Yeah, he's trying to knock the Lings that spawn towards him.
As I was saying before, when you get enough Reapers, the amount of damage that you can do it becomes almost comical.
It's basically an insane high attack speed.
The Reapers just do so much damage here. There he goes. He gets a Queen. This is going to be one of these moments where we might see Reapers kill a building.
Yep.
We haven't seen that since the beta of Wings of Liberty.
They used to shoot grenades when they attack buildings.
That's right. And he's just outdone it. That's it.
GG.
Cool. Really cool strat.
Yeah. That's what I said earlier. I was like, this is not an all-in. It's not 5-Rax Reaper, but if the Zerg takes too much damage, you could just straight up win with it.
I think the difficulty for the Zerg when they're dealing with a strategy like that specifically is you're on the razor's edge. If you do not hold that perfectly, you're going to die. Even if you do hold it, you're not getting your third base anytime soon. And Terran can slowly expand behind it. Now, will that become a consistent strategy here in Legacy of the Void? Not sure. seems to be pretty strong, but I think it's countered quite quickly if you can identify it fast enough and just switch right into Roach and try to counter the Terran.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I think Ling is starting to feel some pressure here, you know?
Well, that was a good pick there for Byung because Byung was playing, textbook Terran in Game 1 and Game 2. He was trying to tech up, trying to get the proper army, taking the third base, taking the fourth, pushing. That I think to throw a strategy in like that in a best of 5 can really throw a Zerg player off.
Yeah, I just feel like in Game 2, he was not comfortable versus Byung. He didn't get to his Infestor play, which is clearly like his trademark. And then in Game 3, he couldn't even get a third base. He couldn't survive the pressure Byung was putting on with those Reapers. Let's see what happens here in Game number 4.
Welcome to
All right,
GSL.
guys. Right now, Byung up 2 games to Ling's only 1. Can Ling come back, or is Byung going to close this out? In the bottom left, in the blue, our Terran.
CJ 엔트스 뿅.
One win away from victory here.
And in the upper right, in the red, our Zerg player, naming himself after DRG.
페루 동래군인.
The name in Korean essentially makes him like one of Dongrygu's Zerglings. Like he's like a... Like he's following Dongrygu around like with all the other Dongrygu-lings.
He's like DRG's
Carbot
one Zergling that was chosen to become the Baneling.
He
and
was
ultimately killed all the workers at that important expansion.
He was born with adrenal glands
That's right.
inbred inside of him. Now, let's see what build Byung is going to do this time. He's actually going for just 1 Rax into CC, it looks like. I'm just going to do 1 Reaper, just like we saw in Game 1, in fact. And back at home, a very fast gas. Like gas before pool for Ling. So that lends itself to a lot of different types of aggression. He could be doing this because he's a bit freaked out by those Reapers. He wants to make sure he has Lings out with Ling's speed very quickly.
He certainly should be pretty freaked out after game number 3. I think this is, by the way, one of the best builds Byung can do because it at least opens up with the appearance of Reapers.
Yeah.
At the same time as the first Reaper would get there. But in fact, it is not at all the same build. He's expanding, and this is more of a pressure Reaper build. And this may force Ling, who, by the way, does not have a lot of, or basically any televised experience, to choke under the pressure. That he may overmake Lings. He may end up sacrificing economy.
He might make a Roachborn, you know? Like, he might really freak out.
Look at this. He's so good at this. Every time he has his Lings in the exact right spot. If this were ladder right now, Byung would be calling him a hacker. He'd be like, why are your Lings there every time?
All right, here comes that Reaper now into the main base. Starting to do some damage, but will eventually be pushed off. And again, this is not a lot of pressure. It looks like Ling's not falling for it either. He's droning up pretty heavily. Now, the Reaper did see the gas, and I'm sure he clicked on it to see, like, okay, that's been mining for a while now, so he's going to have speed very soon. Probably really happy with his choice to only do 1 Reaper now, considering the commitment to safety that we saw from Ling here. This doesn't necessarily mean that he's not going to, with his next wave of gas, maybe even go layer into Nidus Network or something. We don't know yet, but for now it appears to be just a safety-oriented choice.
Well, the expansion's now up and running. We don't have any third base at all right now for Ling. And that's, of course, due to the pressure there from the Reapers, which, by the way, are continuing to poke up here. It looks like he might be able to loop around, do a little bit of scouting. I don't believe this Reaper should be able to get out.
Don't think so with speed done, and he's on creep.
Yeah.
Going to go down here.
Overall, doing a good job scouting.
Yeah, now, first few Hellions are going to come over here now as the follow-up, and he has that medevac just like we saw, and I believe it was Game 1. It was like when the 7 drones died, we saw it the last second. I think he just did the same sort of drop with Hellions. He's going to see the third base timing with these Hellions as well. Going to give him a little bit more information about how long that's been up.
Now, the Hellions come up here. They want to try to drive back Queens, Lings, Creep Tumors, you name it. They're going to try to keep that under control, as well as eliminating other Zerglings just out and about on the map. And overall, I think this is just a really solid build if you want to play StarCraft 2 on the ladder here for what Byung's doing. I think this is just really safe, really smart. I think there is some risk that you would die to some kind of crazy Nidus play if they did decide to do that, since you're really focusing heavily on pressuring.
Harass,
most of your army is somewhere close to the Zerg. but able to get away while you're, really building up for a solid mid game and late game.
Now this drop over here is definitely has the potential to do damage, but look at this reaction. Very quick, pulling the Lings back over, pulling the drones away. Accidentally attacking one of his drones, though. Now turns that Queen around. The Queens will push this back, but he's losing a lot of mining time here. This is not, even though he kills 0 drones, this is not 0 damage. It's quite significant damage, and all the Hellions survive.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely did as much as he possibly could and picked up and moved right back out. So really nice play there by him. And in a second here, we're getting to see the start of the barracks explosion. He's got several barracks down there, and it's going to grow in a high number here as this game goes on. And he's actually just really going for it here.
Yeah.
And even with the, oh, are you kidding me? I thought that everything that could pick up in a drop ship was just, you know how they've changed the distance now and it looks almost like comical? Looks like he didn't manage to save that, but he did dive in there and get about 4 drones.
Yeah, everyone's talking about that Warp Prism range, man. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But looking at the situation here after that little harass exchange, one thing I want to point out is Ling did not take that much damage. His reactions were quick. His drone splitting was good. But he spent a lot of time. Like, it took him a lot of time to deflect this. And if you look at, like, his supply and, like, his tech, he doesn't have a lot of anything to pressure with. He has a small amount of Roaches and Ravagers. He's so concerned about defending. Like, he's so afraid of dying here. And this is just one
Gotta be
Liberator.
careful. As clunky as this Liberator micro looks, it's not easy to do this.
It's very difficult.
You got to know exactly when you've overcommitted, because you can be a little bit greedy sometimes with Liberators because you can do so much damage. Now he's got to relocate. Barely moving out in time.
Yeah, but getting a lot of kills and forcing a lot of lost mining time, I think that this is definitely really paying off quite well for Byung. Look at this, another location over here. He's getting more kills. Looks like he just got his first one, but forcing this to be relocated.
No, he's going to run right underneath this. And actually getting the Queen, that's pretty huge. In fact, this is beginning to look more and more worrisome here for Ling, because Terran is not being interrupted whatsoever as this is going on.
Yeah, he has a third base up now. Mining with a lot of SCVs. It's even worker count right now. This is like almost game-ending damage for a Liberator to have 11 kills. And that's not only drones. He's also killed like some Queens. He's killed like a few Lings too. It's just really affecting how much pressure Ling can put on him.
I will say, it seems like if you really want to engage those Liberators properly, you want to keep the Ravagers just out of vision range and wait for the animation of them to set up. There's also a sound effect that can cue you into that. Yeah. And then you want to dive in with Corrosive Bile at that moment to try to take them out.
Yeah, because then they can't actually, like, they're in the middle of their sieging animation.
Yeah, they're not able to cancel that animation and then start getting propelled across away from that. Now, he has a push following up this attack, and I think this is probably the best play that Terran can do. He's got to be careful. The Zerg army is very scary. However,
he doesn't have combat shields either, so like it's gonna be almost done, but he needs to like not trade too much.
I think it's going to be done once this really starts to pick up. But what's more important is that the supply right now is in really good shape here for Terran because he interrupted so much mining. I think he can get a good push off here. He just has to make sure he has that bulk. He has that meaty Terran army so that he can face off against Roach Ravager. I think a lot of people here in Legacy still not quite used to how strong this army composition is.
Well, he needs to get some bungles onto this army. He doesn't have enough energy yet, as the Observer is showing us here.
Oh, that was really good. I love that. He just goes in there and it targets down immediately on the Ravagers.
Now these investors have enough energy,
and now he's really showing us why Zerg had to rely on Banelings earlier. If you don't have Banelings or Ravagers, at least, to do that Corrosive Bile, there's not as much that you can do. Nice fungals, though. The push, however, still continues onward. A dozen Roaches very close to hatching right now.
And this is just too much damage, Tasis. I feel like he's just being camped here. He's stuck on 3 bases. A Terran player with 3 bases versus Zerg player is just too much.
This is a firing squad back here with the drones.
Yeah, that's it. That's game over.
I think you're correct, Wolf. I don't believe that there's anything that Zerg could really do. This hatchery is inoperable.
Yep, he's down in workers now. So many, 20 went down.
Yeah, I mean, he basically got it. There it is, GG. Nicely done by Byung.
Byung says, welcome to competitive televised StarCraft.
That was definitely showing one player adjusting to another player, not just with knowledge, but also with experience.
Yeah,
Can't say I'm too surprised, but I will say as well, very pleased to see Ling do that well in that series against a player who is such a veteran like Byung. Now, Wolf is going to swap out with Sojung, and she is going to get that interview translated for us. Hello, Sojung.
Hello, Nick. Tasteless.
Plot. That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Oh, I thought Byung was going to lose after I saw the first set. But
Yeah, I did as well, actually.
네.
감사합니다.
하지만 오늘 경기가 그렇게 쉽지는 않아서 1경기에서 좀 허무하게 깨진 모습을 보여주고 많은
Asking
분들
about
좀
the first
놀랐거든요.
game.
예, 어떠셨어요? 어떤
Let's see
심정이었어요?
how he felt.
제가 좀 저번에 자신이 있었는데
예.
주위에서 이원주 선수가 너무 올인만 친다.
Well, people told me that he only does
도
all-ins.
좋아하고 뭐 초반
네.
올인도 좋아한다고
He likes the early all-ins.
첫 번째하고 두 번째 세트 제가 좀 되게 제 플레이가 되게 안 나왔습니다.
So the first set, second set,
의식을 해가지고.
I wasn't able to show
두
myself
번째 세트부터
100%.
좀 느꼈어요.
But
그래서
I
좀,
felt from the
운영을 좀
second
제대로
set
준비해
that
오셨구나. 그때부터
he
이제
prepared a
두
lot
번째 세트
for
한
strategies.
중반 때부터 이제 제 플레이가 좀 제대로 나온
And then
것
I was able to be myself
예,
in the
상대방의
mid
그
part of the
스타일에
second
대해서
game.
아직 잘 알지도 못하다 보니까 여러 부분에 있어서 신경을 썼죠. 네, 그러니까 좀 말렸죠.
네.
예.
1세트 때 조금 평소에 정우영 선수 같지 않게 많이 좀 당황하고 흔들리는
Asking about the first set,
그때
he was
좀 심정이
dragged around.
어땠나요? 좀그 상대 약간 마지막에 세레머니성 플레이까지 나왔을 때.
Also mentioned the ceremony.
오영.
And Byung says he didn't. I don't think he saw it.
못 봤어요.
He says he didn't saw it.
아,
네. 근데 전반적으로 이제 경기가 안 풀렸을 때는 어땠나요, 기분이?
그냥 어차피 뭐 5판 3선이고 첫
Well, it's
세트만
best
진
of
거기
five,
때문에
and I only lost the first set, so I just thought it was no big deal.
좀 그렇게 하더라고요.
But yeah, it did get to me a little
여유 있는
bit.
플레이를 좀 보여주면서 마지막에는 자신의 이름값에 걸맞게 코드에서는 올라갔습니다.
And in the end, Byung was able to make it to Kodes.
악랄한 플레이, 해방선으로 계속해서 견제를 해주고
Cherokee is asking about the Liberator harassments,
이런 컨트롤은 준비가
the controls,
항상
the micro controls.
마지막 경기에서 손이 풀려서 나온 건가요?
근데 항상 준비가 돼 있어요.
I'm always prepared for these controls, I guess.
이 준비된 플레이. 지금 현재 테란으로서 코드에서 입성을 해서 지난 시즌에 못 이룬 꿈을
As a Terran in Kodes,
16강에
maybe he has some goals, but Byung was always staying in round of 16.
코스만 안 만나면은
And Byung says, oh, if I don't go against Protoss, I think I'll be able to advance higher.
절대 안 질 거라는 그런 자신감 좀 드세요.
운영만
Asking
해주면 안 줄 수 있는데
if my opponent just goes strategies, but I do have some confidence. But if there's like all-ins or maybe like today,
네. 그리고 오늘 보니까
I'm not sure.
상대는 사실 잘 쓰더라고요.
네.
사실에 대한 좀 자신감이 좀
asking
있습니까?
about the 3 barracks.
저 컨트롤은 제가
Marauders.
되게 잘하는 것 같아요.
야,
I think that's
Reapers, yeah.
원래 이제
Yeah, I
원조로
think that's
알려진
the best
몇몇
controls I
선수들은
got.
그
I think I'm
선수들보다 내가
the best
더
at
훨씬
it.
잘할 수 있다.
제가 좀 더 잘하는 것 같아요.
I think I'm better.
사신 컨트롤에는 최적화돼 있다.
그러니까 돈만 조금 남을 뿐이지.
예.
I do have a little bit of minerals left, but I have the best controls.
컨트롤은 명품이고 그 원조급이다.
그것만큼은 그냥 지금은 제가 1등 같은데.
For now, I think I'm the first
친하잖아요.
of all the
대부분
Terrans.
선수에서 사실 완벽한 원탑 느낌은 없었는데 그래도 본인이 가장
Cherokee
마음에
says
들어한다고 하니까
he doesn't feel that Byung was number 1, but because he says so, we're gonna admit that he's number 1. Let's see what his goals are.
안 전제하에.
If I just don't meet any processes, maybe a round of 8. Semi-finals, that's my goal for this season.
16강을 넘어서는 모습을 보여주겠다.
Well,
네,
we
알겠습니다.
definitely hope
멋진
to
경기
see
기대하겠습니다.
Byung at a higher
자,
round.
이렇게 정우영 선수와 좀 이야기 나눠봤는데요. 정우영 선수가
Cool.
오늘 경기
Great job as
승리를
always, Sojung.
Thank you.
코드에스에 입성했습니다.
You are doing a show, and that's
Called
starting called.
Weekly start tonight
Weekly
after
start tonight?
all the GSL games tonight. It's about
Oh,
StarCraft.
it's tonight. It
Yeah,
starts
it's tonight.
All right. Well,
So stay tuned.
yeah, guys, don't go away. That'll be after all of our games here today.
Right.
And also,
Yes?
there is going to be Brood War in English.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And that will be, I don't actually have the exact date on me right now, so I don't want to tell you guys the wrong time, but check my Twitter account, and I'll do that after the cast. And that will be brought by Artosis and myself.
Okay.
Yes, very exciting. And that does it. We got to go to break right now. When we come back, we'll go on to our final best of 5 here in today's GSL Code A.
언제나 있는 그대로의 맑고 깨끗함을 지켜가라고. 겨울을 잊은 강물이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성사이다.
천재테란 그게 제 별명입니다. 네, 저는 도전하는 게 좋아요. 근데 게임이라는 게 다음 라운드 도전해야 되고 프로게이머를 직업으로 삼겠다는 거는 고정관념에 도전한 거고 근데 어떤 도전이든 끝이 있더라고요. 영원히 우승할 것 같았고 영원히 천재 소리 들을 줄 알았는데 근데 진짜 도전은 끝을 인정하지 않는 거라고 생각해요. 했었던 도전들 그리고 앞으로 할 도전들이 있을 뿐이죠. 평소에도 굉장히 방송 기획에 관심이 많이 있었어요. 복면스타왕이라는 프로그램을 제가 기획을 했거든요. 반응도 굉장히 좋았었고 앞으로도 이런 색다른 그런 기획 같은 것도 많이 하고 싶습니다. 이 마케팅 쪽에 강연을 하기로 했는데 그때까지 경험들을 알려드리고 싶어서 시작했습니다. 지금 이 새로운 라운드 즐겨야죠.
치킨 먹고 갈래? 치킨만 먹고 가라. 한 번 맛보면 매니아가 된다. 치킨 매니아. 자네가 그 치킨 매니아인가?
달이 빛나는 밤의 오늘의 선곡입니다. 2014년 영국 엑스펙트 시즌 준우승에 빛나는 플로이스트의 곡을 오늘 가져왔는데요. 데뷔 앨범에 수록되어 있는 곡입니다. 전체적으로 일단 앨범은 아주 파티 분위기거든요. 이런 파티 분위기에 이 그루브한 베이스에 브라스에 이런 펑키 사운드로 가득 차 있는 앨범이라고 보시면 좋을 것 같습니다. 이 곡은 이 전체 수록곡 중에서 이 템포가 느린 편에 좀 속하거든요. 이런 템포의 곡인데 이 당김 음으로 만들어지는 그루브가 굉장히 멋지고 특히 랩 파트에서 이 플로이스트의 매력이 정말 발산되기 때문에 이 부분을 잘 들어보면 좋을 것 같다. 이런 감상 팁을 음악 감독님께서 또 추가를 해주셨습니다. 노래면 노래, 랩이면 랩, 댄스면 댄스 이 3박자가 모두 다 맞는 플로이스트의 노래 감상해 보겠습니다. Love Me or Leave Me Alone.
Watch out now. That you're winning cause you have it. Yeah, it's so sad. You got me like that. And I don't know why I'm hanging on you. It's so tragic. You know you got me hooked coming back like a drug addict. You make me feel like staying with you is a bad habit. It's your last chance. Baby, best grab it. I'm too fly to carry on with this baggage. Oh, if you don't change your ways, then I'm gonna walk right out the door. Saying love, love me or leave me alone. Love me or leave me alone. If you don't change your ways, then I'm gonna walk right out the door. You said you never leave me alone. You said you think it'll take it a minute to make it a house a new home. I said I never had it better. Never say never. You're taking it, breaking it, you should be making it better. Whatever. Take the diamonds, take the cars. I don't need no cash back. Got my license, take the keys. I don't need the hatchback. I ain't lying, stop believing, ain't no need to backtrack. I'ma leave your ass quicker than a Snapchat. sunshine things. I can get all that stuff on my own. Yeah, yeah. Hey, a little loving comes for free. Can't get what I need if you ain't home. Oh no. If you don't change your ways, then I'm gonna walk right out the door. Say, love me or leave me alone. Love me or leave me alone. If you don't change your ways, then I'm gonna walk right out the door. Say, you don't change your ways, then I'm gonna walk right out the door. Say, you don't change your ways, then I'm gonna walk right out the door. Say, love me or leave me alone. Say, love me or leave me alone. Watch out now! Hey! Oh no! Oh yeah! Oh, hey! Love me and leave me alone. Say love me and leave me alone. 72 오픈.
이것 빨리 복귀하냐 서울이에요.
춥기 때문입니다. 아 춥기 때문이죠.
오신다 출신의 처음과 끝은 샤시간의 믿을 수 없습니다. 시작합니다.
Welcome to a GSM.
What's up, guys? Welcome back. We're here at the GSL Code A, and we are going on to our final best of 5. But first, a recap.
Yep, we had Departure and Byung advance, both 3-1 over Stats and Ling respectively here. So a Zerg and a Terran do advance so far. Our final matchup of the night is going to be between Bomber and Seed with a TVP. And Bomber rumored for a long time to be retiring soon. Everyone's like, I heard him say it. He said on streamer, he said this or that, and I heard from a guy who knows a guy, or Bomber's retiring soon, but he never retires. He keeps consistently doing well. I'm really curious to see that stat of how many GSLs he's been in, because I have a feeling it's more than 11. I would say like he's probably been in a lot of GSLs since the beginning of StarCraft 2 in Korea. He's been around, a top Terran.
Well, he's one of the players that dominated
18.
18. Jesus, man.
That's a lot of GSLs.
How many GSLs have we done now? Is it up? I think it's up to 29 or 28.
I think it's got to be. Yeah, it's like somewhere between 27 and 30. I know it's like more than 25.
I know it's less than 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That much is true. I always felt like it would be super sick if the GSL was named like the Super Bowl, like this is GSL 29.
No, I would be okay with it. I don't know, it wouldn't bother me as much. This, I think, is the match, that everybody has been excited for. I'm not sure. I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I think a lot of people will disagree with what I'm going to say, but I think Seed actually has a better chance than Bomber here. I think Seed, if you remember all the way back to the early Wings of Liberty days, this guy was a real innovator. I mean, he was doing things like using a hallucinated immortal way before people were even doing any kind of hallucination strat.
Back then, hallucination had to be researched at the Cybernetics Core, and he researched that and used a build like that, whereas now, like, you just come with the standards. People use hallucination to scout, but this guy was an innovator.
Did you have to research it back then?
Yeah, dude. In Wings of Liberty, when he did that build, I know exactly the game you're talking about. Lost Temple and GSTL versus Gumiho was playing random at the time. I remember that exact game. You had to research hallucination at the Cybernetics Core.
It was used so little. I barely remember because it was just something we didn't think about very much. But yeah. He was a very, very smart player, and I would say with a game as fresh as Legacy of the Void, as there's so much gold here that we haven't been able to tap into because we're still learning. I'm curious to see how he plays it because he might be showing us a lot of cool stuff. Now, on the other hand, Bomber, I think you cannot count this guy out.
18 GSLs.
18 GSLs. He's had a tremendous amount of success outside of Korea, in some of the biggest events globally.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically had success at like every kind of event you could imagine overseas. And, he's one of our older pro gamers. And Seed has been around for almost as long as Bomber. But the thing is, Seed has just never found the same consistent success. Seed is an innovator. He comes up with a new strategy, does things smart. Maybe some days before other Protoss players are doing it. But then as the meta changes, some days he can't adapt as well. But I have to agree, I want to give Seed the edge in this best of 5 just because I feel like he's one of those smart players who will have figured things out very quickly.
And I'd say normally I would just pick the person with a better record. I mean, I'm not very interested when it comes to a lot of my predictions. But I think in this case, this is just a feeling. I think Seed might have a good shot here. He's always been a very interesting player. He's always marched to his own beat. Let's see what happens. Also, a lot of Koreans saying Protoss very strong right now.
Welcome to GSL.
Tell your friends to tune in and join us here. It's Wolf and Tasteless bringing you the final best of 5 today. Bomber against Seed here in the GSL Code A. I almost got through it, Wolf.
You did it.
Almost was smooth there. In the bottom left, in the blue.
스페르 바머.
Bomber.
Bammer. Yay, Bomber.
What kind of bomber is he?
A B-52.
Clearly.
And in the upper right, in the red.
MVP 치킨 마루 시드.
Anyway, MVP getting that new name sponsor, Chicken Maru.
Thanks for coming to the studio, guys.
Glad to have you guys here.
Hope you guys had some good pizza.
Yeah, I know I did.
I did as well, but I gotta say, man, whenever we order pizza here at the GSL, we're always getting Supreme, and I gotta.
You gotta question that?
I really do. I think that if you're gonna order hundreds of pizzas, I think you go straight pepperoni and cheese.
100%, because okay, listen, the only type of people that are gonna have problems with pepperoni pizza are the artoses, the vegetarians. But otherwise, like, nobody who can eat meat will not eat pepperoni pizza. But there's a lot of people that don't like onions. Okay, there's a lot of people that don't like olives. You're like, or if you get a Supreme pizza,
let me tell you something as well. Okay, I think onions are great, but I don't think they're that great on pizzas.
No.
I think onions, they have their place, and it's in most foods that you want to go for onions. Like people that just don't eat onions at all, I don't trust them. Now, olives, okay. Now, whose idea was this? Okay, I don't understand how olives enhance a pizza at all. I'm not big on olives. I don't even get why people make these fancy-looking martinis and they put an olive in there. What the hell's the deal with that?
Yeah, it's pretty weird,
And they spray vermouth, whatever that is, into the martini. I don't get it.
All I'm saying
I don't get it.
All I'm saying is, Taste, this is going to be a little scout here, a little safety bunker on the low ground for that pylon rush that we see sometimes. But all I'm saying is, if you get Supreme Pizza, you're going to upset several subsets of pizza eaters. The people don't like the onions. The people don't like the olives.
The only people who truly like the Supreme Pizza are mom and dad. Okay.
Yeah.
The rest of us kids, I mean, I'm sorry.
Exactly.
But this is Korea, where they always mix every possible topping in.
Don't even get me started on sweet potato pizza, but Twilight Council's on the way here. Now, this could be for one of two things.
I'm just going to say it's just for adepts, man.
That's one of the two things. With this Robo, though, I'm going to say I think it might be for DTs.
Maybe I should have, held my tongue. We will see. We will see.
Because when you get the Adept attack speed this early, then you can do drops with it. But with this really fast Warp Prism, he's not going to have that many Adepts to drop with. So I think he might actually be trying to do this with a Dark Shrine and warp, line that Dark Shrine timing up with the... Oh, it's completely wrong. It is going to be the Glaives. But either way, this is really common.
This is something that Terrans have had a lot of trouble with. The Adept, if you think of how much trouble that Zergs have with it, Terrans at times have an even more difficult problem because Marines are not fast.
Nope.
They're not quick. Yes, they're ranged, but they're also not very strong.
Yeah, and they don't have a lot of health, and that's the key problem. In fact, there's been a lot of discussion, even posted yesterday on David Kim's Balance blog, about removing just 1 damage per shot for the Adept because it would make it so it has to 3-shot SCVs and also, make Marines a lot tougher versus it. And that's the matchup where, a lot of people are saying that it's the worst for Terran is this one, and that the Adept is the strongest.
And you have to combo that fact with the fact that both the Warp Prism and the Adept have unbelievable mobility. And Terran historically have always, operated off of having a strong static defense position. Their units die fast, but if they get in a good spot, they can defend it. Well, in this current iteration of the game, Protoss basically pick and choose where they want to fight in a way that is unprecedented.
Yeah.
In StarCraft 2.
Now this Warp Prism
or StarCraft 1, whatever.
Yeah, this Warp Prism is terrifying as well. It looks like when I was speaking about the Glaives, actually the timing works out perfectly in this case. I thought it was a little bit too soon for the Warp Prism, but look at this. The second the Glaives finish, he's already got 4 Adepts in the Prism, and he wants to kill that Cyclone quickly. That's going to be the ones he wants to target down first so that he can actually keep the Warp Prism alive.
By the way, great location to warp in here. It's the one that you don't expect right in the front. Since he knew that Warp Prisms were probably coming, he's anywhere but that. But the Siege Tank placement is actually pretty sexy.
A lot of hesitation here from Seed as well, I feel.
This is already not going well.
Yeah, it's going very poorly. He's got more Adepts here teleporting, though, into the back. And he wants to target down that Cyclone, I would say.
Yeah, he needs to. You got to be careful, though, with the SCVs around it like that. They can repair pretty effectively. And
one Adept does escape here briefly.
This was... Wow, I mean, he really shut this down.
Yeah, this did not do much. I mean, the Siege Tank plus the Cyclone.
Say, the tank placement is key here. It is just in such a spot that it basically covers half of everything Terran has.
And also something I want to point out, I think this is something that a lot of people don't really think about, is this drop for Seed was done somewhat blindly. Like, he got lucky in where he dropped because he didn't see the Cyclone there, and he was like, okay, this is probably a safe place to do it. Most people put the Cyclones in the back. And then he came into the Siege Tank, he didn't know where it was, and then when he saw it, he hesitated a lot. He had his Adepts standing next to the supply depots doing nothing.
I'll tell you what, Wolf, I mean, it even threw me off. I was saying it was a great drop spot, and then Siege Tank shots started coming from off the screen. And we saw, in fact, that, Bomber was completely prepared for it.
This is some good micro here by Seed, trading decently with those Adepts, but he's got a follow-up, and it's going to be Blink Stalkers, of course, with Immortals. A ton of gateways being added now. It's the Gateway Explosion, as you like to call it, with the third base coming up to life. And Bomber's Stim is quite late, so he's not going to be able to pressure with Ground Army for a while. He didn't have a tech lab on his barracks for a while. He was focused on getting that Siege Tank and using that on the Cyclone as well to defend this.
Ooh, he should not be coming in over here.
2 turrets.
Yeah, there's no way he will get in that location. A lot of Protosses just follow this up with a very strong timing attack that bullies Terran back up onto the high ground. Now, normally this follow-up attack is, it's really strong because Terran took so much damage. Terran did not take as much damage this time around. Now, one problem for Terran in this situation is that they were forced to get out a few key units to help hold off this attack, like the Cyclone, like the Siege Tank.
Yeah.
Whereas, historically, Terrans in StarCraft 2 have always had a big bio ball that by now would have, Stim and Medivacs. Looks like Stim's almost done. But
yeah, you can't just hold
Stim would be done by now if this was Heart of the Swarm.
In Heart of the Swarm, you just use bunkers to hold something like this,
He may still be weak versus this. We're going to have to see. What you do is you have the Adepts come in right on top of where the tank is. You see it just like that. And then he's probably going to try to force field. Well, ideally, he'd have the Guardian Shield over his actual army.
Well, I mean, he didn't even kill the Siege Tank here right away. He focused it down for a long time, but this is still a very strong push. And you know what? The Terran just does not have enough units at this location to hold this base. He's going to have to lift up and walk or fly away.
Unfortunately, there were a couple things happening there. One was that there were 2 Medivacs not with that army. He did not have most of his army. Whoa.
Stim is not done either. That's the other thing, Tasis.
Yes.
He didn't have Stim, so...
Oh, no, I thought he just finished Stim.
It just finished now, just a second ago.
Oh, okay, I thought it was a little bit sooner, but he gets... just overall, the combo is just too strong. Now, this really goes to show you the actual power of Protoss, specifically right now in Legacy of the Void, and also just with that build in general, because Terran, I thought, did a pretty superb job of holding that, and there didn't seem to be much that Bomber could do to stop that.
No, yeah, I mean, he had... I think he had his units in the ideal location. His Siege Tank was, well placed at the back. He had a decent amount of Medivacs, but he didn't have Stim, and that Adept...